welcome to Edition for What It's Worth. I'm your host, Tom Coletta, and tonight, I think people know that I've worked at Worcester Housing for a while, and I dealt with youth in the Worcester area. And one of the things when I was finding jobs for youth and teaching them how to write resumes or whatever, and I would go to the schools and check the background of how the children were doing, I found they would do well in a lot of things like English or history or different things, but math was always, I swear, 90% of the time a stumbling block with most of the youth, that they were having a problem with math. And myself, I wasn't, before the show, I was talking to Shannon when we were getting set up, and I was saying, she said she was pretty good. Well, I was one of those kids that I just prayed. I tried to memorize everything as well as I could and just get by. I did very well in psychology, sociology, English, whatever, history. But it seemed when it came to math, I struggled. I would just every night I just prayed I was going to get. I try and get by and say, I hope I could get a C. Just let me get by. And it's funny. I think math is that way for a lot of people. It's kind of, I don't know if it's something that you either have it or you don't have it, but maybe we can find some answers tonight. But I think it's gotten worse, and I think we speak to our guests. I think it's gotten worse maybe in the last 20 or 30 years than maybe when I was young. Yeah, math was always a tough subject, but I found that kids, when I was dealing with them in the last 5, 6, 10 years, that they always, when I go to the school and I talk to the guidance counselors, the teachers, they say kids are just really, they're just terrible at math now. So we'll see if we got some answers to this problem. Tonight I have Olga Serebrennikov. How did I do on that?
Very good.
Very
Tom,
good. Okay.
Very good.
All right, I didn't want to screw that last name up. Very distinguished lady here, and she runs the MathAltitude School of Mathematics.
That's
in Worcester.
right. Yes.
It just opened recently. In,
yes, we opened in June of 2010.
2010.
Yeah, we planned for quite some time, and finally the time was right for us. And my husband and I, we decided that we will do it.
Okay. Now, do you agree with me that math seems to be a subject that we're just awful at?
Well, it is. I agree with you that math is, for some reason, which are quite unknown to me, is difficult for our kids. What I disagree is that our teachers are blaming our kids. Kids, and I strongly believe it, kids are smart. Kids are willing to learn, and kids are capable of learning. So when we are trying to blame something on our kids, we're essentially moving the blame where it should not be. Maybe we should look at ourselves, at our system. You
just made an interesting point. You just said you find teachers and maybe the system of blaming the kids. What do you mean by blaming? What are they saying about the kids?
Well, when we're saying that kids are not doing well in mathematics, that's pretty much probably because we're not teaching them right. Because we're either providing them with a material which is not sufficient enough, maybe it's not rigorous enough, and strong kids are losing interest very, very early. Maybe it's a little bit convoluted for weak kids, and we are trying to put everything in the same category and try to deal with this soup. So that's what I'm saying when I'm saying that we're moving the blame around. Just recently there was MCAST results, and we often hear that MCAST in general is bad. We're teaching for the test, and all sorts of things we hear, but we still need to figure out how to assess the results. And unfortunately, nobody came up with a better solution than just to do some kind of testing. So we can say that maybe it's not good enough, but it is a tool. And when we get very discouraging results, and you probably heard that Worcester is far below the state level, and the state level is not very high. So we should be very alarmed. We should not say that, oh, we did a few points better than last year. We should say, oh, we have a problem. How do we address it?
Well, okay. Do you agree with me, though, that kids have gotten worse in math in the last 20 years maybe than maybe 30, 40 years ago?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Unfortunately. And not everywhere in the world. There are certain parts of the world where kids are actually exceeding in math. It's very unfortunately that in the United States we have this tendency that we are losing our leading place when we are competing. And when we're competing in math, I think last year result was 23 out of 34 countries that were in the competition, and That's
Really?
not good enough, right?
Okay, so kids aren't doing well. Now, all right, your school, what is it all about? Let's explain to our audience out there. You might want to get a pen and paper or whatever here and jot something down. So you might, because you're probably saying maybe your kid's having a problem, probably like 90% of the people are with your children. So you're probably very interested in the school MathAltitude School of Mathematics. You're located on 35 Harvard Street in Worcester. Okay, why don't you explain to our audience what you do there?
Okay, we actually teach kids. We start with kindergarten. We open a school for kids of different age. We prefer to teach younger kids because when they come to us in kindergarten and first, second, third grade, they are like sponge. It's very easy to teach them more difficult concepts that they're used to in their regular schools. And by the time they are in middle school, they're not afraid of it. They're not afraid of mathematics. They're not scared when they hear word equation. They're not scared when they hear word of geometry or algebra. They just do it. And by the time they will get to high school, and the reason I'm saying it so confidently because I worked in similar program for almost 10 years. I know that it works. I know that it works, and I know that it's much easier to get much better results when you start early. It's much more difficult when you bring your kids, they are like in high school, and they need remedy quick. And their parents bring these kids to me and they say, oh, they're smart, but they just don't get it. Sure, they don't have foundation. We need to build up on the foundation. So what we do in our school, we meet once a week. It's usually it's 2-hour classes. We meet for the entire year, starting from September till the end of June. It's pretty much aligns with the public school system. Every week, kids receive instructions. It's small class situation. It's not one-on-one tutoring. Also, we'll provide tutoring as well for those who need it. And kids receive homework. And we expect kids to come next week prepared with homework done. There will be quizzes. There will be tests. So it's a very much a typical classroom situation. We do expect kids to solve difficult problems. We want to show them that mathematics is beautiful and it should not be difficult. By saying it shouldn't be difficult, they should know how to solve problems. They should not just see the problem.
Try and memorize. Right now, that's what I did, and I think a lot of people in math. We just tried to memorize something for a test and hope we got by, and we really weren't comprehending, seeing the big picture.
This is why I'm saying that we are trying to teach mathematics in logical way, in structural way, so we don't have like different parts of it just hanging without a foundation. We put one block on top of another. It's kind of vertical concepts, and with this, this is traditional European concepts. Similar concept was very successfully used in Russia when they were teaching mathematics. Many Asian countries use a very similar concept. So we were adopting it to current situation. We were looking at the Massachusetts framework and the curriculum that Massachusetts created for students to make sure that whatever we propose will align with whatever school requires. So we are not substituting schools. We are providing parents with additional tools so they can pretty much...
Okay, because my parents are out here and they're saying to me, why should I send my child to this school when he's got a teacher? Why aren't they doing their job? You see, can you see someone out there saying this now?
Oh, I see.
What are you offering, and why are the schools failing, and what are you offering that can give them an edge? That's really what you're doing. You're giving a child an edge that by coming to your school, they're going to be a little ahead of what's going on.
That's what I expect from most of the children who come. And Tom, I would like to avoid this question about how teachers in regular schools are teaching. I believe that regardless of what program they have, every teacher can make a difference. And unfortunately, sometimes they're overwhelmed, sometimes they have many kids to teach. That's what I can do is to provide some help. And so far, for every student who came to my school, and I'm not only talking about kids who need help. Actually, my biggest hope is to get as many kids who need more challenges. It's excellent to teach kids who are already ahead and they want to get even far ahead. And for their parents, I can say, well, just look at your child's schoolwork. Do you feel it is sufficient? Does your child come from the regular math class excited? Does your child want to share a problem with you? For example, right now, it's a kind of a volunteering job that I do. I came to Worcester Yeshiva Academy, this is distinguished school, and I came to promote my school, but in between our conversation, I learned that they need some help, and I offered to teach their math club. So we're doing fun problems there, we're doing serious problems there, whatever they need. And what I learned that kids are bringing problems that I give them to their home.
Oh, really?
And they ask their parents to solve it. And one of my students came back and he said, well, my grandmother solved this.
Oh, really?
And it was so nice to hear that.
Wow.
And when you hear this from child, when your child comes to your school and you show some solution, and your child looks at that and says, that's cool. It's so gratifying.
So they're excited, as opposed to what I did. I'm an example. I wanted to avoid it at all costs because I felt it was boring. I thought it was boring. Math was boring, and I loved the English and the arts, liberal arts. But like you say, it doesn't have to be boring.
No, not at all. Not at all.
A child can become excited about it and see, like, hey, this is cool, right?
Yeah. And just last Sunday, I had a student in my 6th grade, and he proposed some solution. And I liked his solution, and he was like, no, so you're saying that solution is right? I said, that solution is very good. He said, I need to write it down. And, our kids, they are not taking notes. It's very unfortunate. They're not taking notes. They're not accustomed to take notes.
Really?
And he was sitting, and it was hard, but he was taking notes. He wanted to write his solution. He wanted to make sure, because his solution was actually very decent. And this is another point I want to talk about. It just happened that I was driving to my school today, and I think Michael Graham, he was discussing on the radio, again, that similar topic, education, etc., and whether kids should teach themselves and teachers should only be kind of help for that. And I think it's kind of a fishy concept because teacher is there to teach. It's good and it's necessary to hear what a child wants to tell you. It's very necessary to hear the solution that the child proposes. But then you need to summarize it, and you need to explain how. There are so many years of mathematics that people studied mathematics. So you don't want a child to discover this as one of the drawbacks of the program that's called Everyday Math that we actually have everywhere in Worcester County. Kids from 1st grade to 6th grade, they study this program. And this program, I think it's very good for young kids. But as kids grow, they still spend tons of time trying to hear all the solutions that children provide. At a certain point, you need to stop and you need to start teaching.
Okay, what's interesting? I deal with young people, getting them jobs in Worcester housing, high school students mostly, and when this is interesting that inner city children do pretty good academically till about the 6th grade. They do as well as people in the suburbs, but when they get into middle school and high school, they fall by the wayside. What do you make of that? All the statistics would show that until about the 6th grade, it's kind of even. That inner city kids grasp the same things as well as people do in the suburbs with more affluent areas, we'll say. But something after, when they go into the middle and high schools, something happens, they slip. What do you make of that?
I think it's a good point. I think we start noticing it when they get to middle school, but they slip happening a little bit earlier. the sleep happening probably around 4th, 5th grade.
Yeah.
When we're still treating them as little babies, we're
Yes.
still playing with them. You look again,
Right.
I cannot talk about every single subject, but I can talk about math. I studied a lot
Right.
what we're doing here. And with the same everyday mathematics, I would say it's excellent when they play games in 1st and 2nd and 3rd grade, but we play the same games in 5th grade.
You do, you're right.
And we're talking about intercity kids. They mature way earlier than suburban kids,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So when you treat them as babies when they're 11, 12, 13, they're not taking you serious.
Yeah,
Now they're coming to middle school and they're already not accustomed to study hard.
Yeah.
They are not accustomed, and that should not be this way. There's an excellent charter school in Manhattan. They are in the same building. I think it's in Harlem, and it's the same building they share it with the regular school. And the discipline in this charter school is
Yeah.
outstanding. And the percentage of kids that are not dropping but going to college is astonishing.
Really?
So this is the same pool
Good.
of kids, but the principal there, he enforces strict discipline. There are no
This is what I've contended, that it is, if you treat someone and treat them, you don't even know you're doing it, as saying you can't achieve, they're not going to achieve.
Yes.
But if you put the guidelines there and say, I think you can do this and you're going to do it, they will do it.
absolutely.
So a lot of our schools have taken on an attitude, I know that, our public schools, that, well, they don't even know they're doing this, it's subconscious, that they're saying, well, you're from the inner city, and you're from a broken home, so we'll just treat you as a child, and we'll just try and hope you get through this. As opposed to saying, no, I think you can. I think you can go to a top-notch college.
Absolutely.
See, and so that's what you're saying, that's good.
Yes,
good.
I believe that kids have ability to learn. I mean, it's outstanding when parents provide resources. It's great when parents help, but we should treat them with respect. I mean, treat kids with respect and demand. Not
Okay.
only treat,
Time's
but
flying here,
demand.
so I want to
Yeah.
make sure we get out to the audience so they can get in touch with you. We're sort of speaking to Olga, see if I can get a Serebrennikov.
Yes.
Pretty good, okay.
Very good.
And the head, her and her husband, Boris.
My
together,
husband,
you're
Boris,
engineers,
yeah.
and you run MathAltitude School of Mathematics on 35 Harvard Street. Now, so after school, it's kind of an after-school program, and what ages do you deal with?
From kindergarten to high school.
Now, let me ask you a question. Someone's out there, they may feel a little intimidated right now. They say, okay, math is, they feel...
Am I intimidated?
No. Some people feel that way. I know that if I was out there, I say, maybe my child will be afraid.
Yeah.
I want to do this, but maybe they're going to go there and they're very bad in math. They're not good at all, and maybe, I mean, how welcome do you make the people feel? Do you have different levels? In other words, a
Yes.
beginner. You know where I'm going here?
Yes.
Someone at home saying, geez, I don't know, I feel intimidated. Maybe to take my
They
child.
shouldn't. We welcome everybody.
Everybody.
We welcome everybody, every kid with different abilities. We invite parents to bring a child for one free, absolutely free lesson. And if they decide that that's not for them, then,
Yeah.
well, we will wait till they come back. So that's fine. And we do expect kids to take placement tests, but that mostly to assess their ability, to
Yeah.
make sure that we will place
So you
them
can
correctly.
place it. See, that's good. So our audience out here,
Yeah.
see, so in other words, don't feel free. In other words, your son isn't going to go in, everybody's not Albert Einstein, because you may have that idea in your head, and so the
But if you
daughter,
have
right.
Einstein, bring him in.
Exactly, if you have that too, right. Right, but so, because a lot of people might feel, oh, geez, my kid won't fit.
Yeah.
So in other words, you'll take a placement test, give them a placement test, and you'll see what level they're on, and you'll fit them right into the slot where they're at. So that's
Yeah.
good. So how do they enroll? Someone's out here now, what do they do now? Someone's interested?
Well, they call my number, 508-932-0344. I will answer it almost any time.
Yeah.
I'm a principal of this school. They can visit our website, MathAltitude.com, and we have enrollment information there. The tuition is very affordable. They can choose either class situation or private lessons or semi-private lessons, depend what their particular needs. We encourage classes, but some people prefer private tutoring, and especially for older kids when they already have profound gaps and they need to catch up, whatever they can to catch up.
So So the people can take this as far as they want to take it. You
Yes.
can do this a couple hours a week, or can you do it a lot of hours a week?
If it's private tutoring, I
Private
can do
tutoring.
it every day.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is good. Again, we got that up. Put that up there again, Shan. To contact, okay? And your hours there are?
Usually from 3:30 to 8 every
8.
night,
Okay.
with exceptions Friday and Saturday, and on Sunday we are there from morning to.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
so in addition to after school, we provide classes on Sunday, so if after school weekday don't work, don't be discouraged.
Do you have any discounts? There might be some people out there say they're
Yeah.
sure that, the economy isn't the greatest since
Yeah.
2008 around here. Do you have any sort of deal or something that
Oh
we can
yeah,
work
well,
out with
first
the
of all, if they enroll before November 30th, we waive the registration fee. We have sibling discounts at 10% because usually parents who bring one child tend to bring every other child they have
really?
in the
Yeah.
household.
Sure.
And we also have a referral discount because we just try to spread the word about our school. It's 10% referral discount for anybody who brings their
Well,
friends.
the thing is, I'm having this show just because I know this woman, I've never met her before, but the way the job market is going, if you're not good in math, the way technology is, you're going to get left behind. I mean, it's sad to say, but the world has changed a lot in the last 20 years, and especially in the last 10, and really, if you're not proficient in this subject, you're going to have some real problems out there getting the good jobs.
Yes, Tom.
So this is a great idea to give her a call and get your child in here. And what's the youngest you take?
5?
5 years old. Okay, and you've got 5-year-olds in there.
Yep.
Good. Wow, that must be something, huh?
Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah, and the kids really take to it, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we are not teaching algebra to 5-year-old.
Yeah, right.
We started
Yeah, I know.
from
I'm
6.
sure. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. In high school, no college age. It's just
No,
okay.
college age. At this point, we are trying not to extend it to adults. Also, what I hope eventually to have in the school some kind of seminars for parents, because I believe it shouldn't be just a place where parents bring their kids and go away shopping or do something else.
Yeah.
I would like to have a community, so people are engaged in their children's learning process. That would be ideal, and especially in a city as Worcester, where it's not huge, right? And it kind of makes sense when we're all getting together.
Yeah. Now, what do you find? Now, there's another thing I was just curious about. I always found that girls, when I was in school, were better in math than boys were. I don't know if that's changed, but I find females were always better in math. When I was in class, the boys would always say, if a boy was a B minus, a girl was always a B plus or an A minus, and a boy was a C. I don't know if that's changed. Maybe it was the school I was in. I went to Catholic school for a while, but the girls always seemed to be better at math when we were younger than boys were. What do you find?
No, I think they equal. It's just very difficult to keep boys' attention unless they're really, really into it and interested. And girls, they take better notes, so they try to please the teacher a little bit more.
Yeah,
so
right.
that's about
Maybe I
it.
was looking at the girls too much and not doing the math. That was the problem.
That could be.
That was my problem, I guess. But you say 35 Harvard Street. Put that up again, Shan, so we'll make sure everybody's got there. And you can call anytime. They won't be intimidated, and you can work something out. That's because I just know when people think they're doing something outside of their comfort zone, especially around Worcester, people, if they haven't done something for a long time, they're uncomfortable to try something new.
Well,
and this is
that's
kind
true.
of a new concept. You found that around Worcester?
I do.
People,
I
they're
do find
very
it.
habit. They can do the same thing for 50 years. Even if it's good, they have trouble changing. So, this is something new for people around here. So I wanted to let our audience know that they
Hey,
can
Worcester,
feel free
wake
to give you
up.
a call. Right. Wake up, exactly. That's a good point. We do that all the time here. So, what else? Anything you want to say to the audience before, because we're getting late? I want her to take our test. I'm very curious what she thinks of American TV and food and everything else here. So, what would you like to say before we go? We're going to take a few minutes here.
Well, first I want to thank you for inviting me, for talking to your audience, and I do really want people to try us, even if they don't believe that they need it at the moment, even if they are fully aware that their children succeed in math. Just try us. See what your children will tell.
Now, whereabouts on Harvard Street? I know Harvard Street.
It's 35 Harvard Street. It's I think that building called Harvard Place. Unfortunately, the building doesn't have our sign or anybody's any tenant's sign, but it has a huge sign saying Harvard Place.
Really? Is it near the old courthouse?
It's behind the old courthouse.
Behind
It's a brick 2-3-story buildings behind, and we have well, technically it's second floor, but it's a ground floor.
Now, you just said something. The parents could come in if they wanted to observe, not right now. So there's no problem. The parents don't have to just drop them off and go shopping. You actually encourage.
No, we have, at the moment, it's a small place, so we have 2 classrooms and a waiting room. And in waiting room, we actually have Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi, so parents can wait there instead of going shopping. Or they can, actually, if they really want to, they can arrange and observe the class.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to rub people wrong, but I've heard the same thing. I've seen a lot of shows on public television about how, and I believe this too because I deal with inner city children, and that teachers kind of write off inner city children. I've talked to teachers, they deny it, but I've observed in their class, I've watched their classes, and there is a bit of an attitude of almost like, let's just push these people along and get them out of our hair. And you know what I mean? And it's unfortunate because I agree with you. I know what you're talking about, that school in Harlem. I've heard about it, where the kids are doing as good as anybody. Very affluent, from affluent homes, they're doing as good as anybody. They're going to the best schools. So it shows you we shouldn't throw our kids away, that we just shouldn't write them off because they're not from a high economic background or whatever. So this is good. You're going to take our test now with us before you go in?
I'll try. We'll see how well I do.
I'm just curious. You're from where? Where'd you come from?
I'm from Russia.
You're from Russia. How long have you been in this country?
Almost 20.
20 years? Okay. Okay, you ready for this? Okay. And another thing with your class, you might see me show up. Do you take the elderly for your class too?
I'll open the class for you.
Because if it wasn't for my wife, you open the class for me?
I'll open the class.
If it wasn't for my wife, I don't think I could add 2 and 2. I ask her, like, if I look at a bill at the grocery store, they could charge me $1,000 for a loaf of bread, and I go, oh, that's okay. So I'm not
well, I'll already talk tomorrow, so there will be more than one person there.
Okay, we ready?
Yes.
Your favorite TV show?
I'm a little bit ashamed. CSI New York.
Is it really? Oh, that's good. Why are you ashamed of that?
I don't know.
That's good. People feel ashamed. You don't have to be ashamed of the answer.
You know, till recently, I actually didn't know much about TV.
Really?
And all of a sudden, I started to watch CSI. And I like Gary Sinise. You know, I just love him. So that's why it's like, I don't even bother to watch, to follow what they do there. Jeez. But I see him there, and that's cool.
She isn't shy to talk, Frank. This is unbelievable. She could take the show over. I asked Frank. He says no, she'll talk. And I can see that. Your favorite movie?
Well, there is one which I really like, which is Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman, really? Well, that's an interesting answer. I wouldn't expect that from you, but it's...
I know nobody would expect it from me, but I learned English watching that movie. Okay. So I watched it probably 100 times.
Your favorite actor?
Dustin Hoffman.
Okay, just one. Dustin Hoffman. Favorite actress?
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman? Oh, jeez, that's my favorite. We've got to talk. Your favorite music? You can only listen to one music the rest of your life.
Well, the mix of jazz and klezmer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I like both, and you know where I heard it? It was in Nick's, in Worcester. There is a pub called Nick's.
Yeah,
and
right.
there was a band there last year.
Very good.
They put like mixed. It
very
was
good
unbelievable.
Music. Yeah, they do. It's a good club. I've gone down there myself. Okay, your favorite food? You can only eat one thing for the rest of your life.
Lebanese.
Lebanese?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
like anything Mediterranean, but Lebanese is the best.
Okay, your favorite vacation place?
Cruising.
Cruising? Just cruising?
Well,
anywhere on a boat?
Cruising or traveling. If traveling, then I would probably Israel. Then would be my
good show. We'll see you next week. Give her a call. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice job.